would you do that? Alright guys, recently we received a very odd piece of mail in our P.O. box. It's something between a vegan manifesto and a piece of hate mail. I'm not sure which one it is, but we're gonna go through this and let us know what you guys think. Brad and Lex, the point of this missive is to get you to realize that your purchases have consequences that directly affect other innocent beings. You are culpable and complicit. Read on. Imagine if someone approached you and said, with a straight face, only on Mondays will I stop calling people of color the N-word. That means Tuesday through Sunday, they go back to calling people of color the N-word. Do they stop being racist on Mondays? The same logic is present when people say with a straight face, only on Mondays will I refrain from eating animals. Oh man, how do you compare racism to veganism?
Shoot, I guess though you could say, they said the N-word, they didn't actually write it out, so there was a little bit of a hesitation with that.
How are these comparable?
I mean, they're not, but this is a very, what would you call it? It's very even and legible, it's very OCD.
Oh, the handwriting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel this is typical of wokeism, the emotional angle, emotional manipulation.
Right. Triggering.
So far in the letter,
yeah.
It's just okay, I know this is about to be some emotional BS. You're comparing people using the N-word to eating meat.
Right.
It's this is not going to be a fact-based letter. You already know. Just reading the first paragraph. You know it's
in
going to be...
their mind, it is, though.
Right, you know it's going to be all feelings.
It really is.
It's a lot of woke people use the same logic. Just, apply it to anything you want. Apply it to racism, politics, anything. They use the same emotional logic. They try and find something they think is an emotional exploit that you have. It's oh, we're black. So they're oh, I could, maybe exploit them by using the N-word or, using analogies that compare it to racism. Oh, that'll get to them. You know what I mean? It's oh my goodness. Bro, chill. At this point, if you're thinking, hey, the struggles that people of color go through cannot be compared to cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, lambs, fish, and so forth. Why not just say animals? But anyway, my response to that is...
Because fish count. They want us to know black people are compared to fish.
My response to that is, the way us vegans see things is like this. All oppression is interconnected.
Then maybe it's not oppression. Maybe it's a circle of life. Parts of what you're saying are valid, but people won't listen to you when you intertwine it with crazy.
What part is valid?
Well, the part
of
about
this. I'm talking this specifically.
None. This none. But they're saying basically you should consider the treatment of animals. That's basically what I think they're getting at. But they're just so extreme about it and they're so crazy with it that it's you can't really logically, it's logic versus emotions. It's just not going to be a communicable conversation.
But this is identity politics 101. All oppression is interconnected. You define a bunch of victim groups and try and get them all to group together.
Yeah.
So you're comparing slavery to having animals for food, farms,
they're saying,
and slavery.
Yeah.
That is a stretch.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're not, yeah.
Now, you've got to be kidding me. They go on. So by being a person of color who knows what it's like to be oppressed and or discriminated, it's a big assumption there.
Right. It's what? When did we leave you to believe that?
What right do you have to oppress, torture, abuse, and murder innocent animals? When was the last time a cow, pig, chicken, turkey, lamb, or fish made you suffer because of the color of your skin? As long as there is violence on plates, there will always be violence in the streets.
What in the world?
When was the last time an animal made you suffer because of the color of your skin?
What in the world?
What kind of questions are these?
This is it's not even apples and oranges. It's apples and
moon
natural
rocks.
Disaster. It's just two totally separate categories.
Okay, how do you answer a question like that? When was the last time an animal made you suffer because of the color of your skin?
Right.
Do they want to say, oh, dang, that's right. Animals have never been racist. I should stop eating them.
Right. It's just very weird.
And it's funny they're comparing, I guess, black people to animals, enslaved black people to animals, whatever they're doing.
I'm trying, I'm literally, as you're reading this, I'm trying to connect to how they think these things are connected. You know what I mean?
If you want to
see from their point of view,
play the game and compare people to animals, animals eat animals. So if you're going to make an analogy comparing me to an animal, then okay, I'm an animal, I eat animals.
Right.
That's what animals do.
Right.
Okay, here's where it gets good. The second that you decide that human lives, or even dogs, cats, horses, or dolphins, matter more over cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, lambs, fish, and so forth, it's called speciesism. Think of that word as another ism. Just like racism or sexism. That's the last thing we need is another ism. It's when you decide that some animals are more important over other animals. It's no different than deciding that white people matter more over people of color. Racism. Germans over Jews or males over females. Sexism. Speciesism is the root of all that is evil in this world. No, it is not. Speciesism is not the root of all that is evil. Stupid people are the root of all that is evil in this world.
Oh!
Am I wrong?
No.
That's definitely the root of all evil. I feel like every ism is just a cult.
Pretty much.
You know what I mean?
Pretty much. And it's weird because it's like the more you get into a cult, like the more you get into it and you get kind of convinced and convicted. Like we were vegans for 3 years, so we know very well the different types of vegans that there are out there. And like we weren't vegans because we were just all super animal rights, but you meet people who are also vegans that are like extreme animal rights, and it's like this definitely exists, and this definitely is like, I wouldn't say it's a good representation of most vegans.
Yeah, definitely not.
But it definitely is the cultish part of veganism.
Yeah.
And when you start just to like, you know, have a better diet or whatever, you slowly, like I started getting into speciesism is a real thing. You know what I mean?
Really?
Like
I think it is real, as in like if you believe one species is more valuable than the other, you're a speciesist. I'm sorry, I believe humans are more valuable than animals. I'm a speciesist. Guess what?
Right.
Lions believe lions are more valuable than gazelles.
True.
They're speciesists or whatever you want to call it. I don't care. You use the word, that's fine. It doesn't offend me. I am a speciesist. I do rank animals in hierarchy. I think humans, most important. Cows, second important, because I love beef. You know what I mean? So yes, I'm a speciesist. I think cows have more value than chicken, nutritionally. So I love to eat them. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, self-preservation, first law of nature.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that's a little bit natural.
Every animal is a species.
Yeah.
And they value their own species over others. All right, now back to this letter. You don't have to be a religious person to go vegan, but if you are, Proverbs 6:16 and 17 says, hands that shed innocent blood. If you are non-vegan, you are in violation of this, as your hands and your dollar pays for innocent, sinless, and pure enslaved animals to be subjected to abject misery and then murdered in your name. What in the world? I love how you just took like 5 words from a Bible verse. Yeah. I'd love to see the next 5 words and the previous 5 words.
Right. But it's weird because it's like like animals have personalities just like anybody. Like I'm sure they have their psychopaths, and I'm sure they have their, you know what I mean? They have their, you know, woman abusers, and like they have their whole, you know, range of like animal existence. Right. So the fact that they're sitting there, they're sinless and they're innocent, it's like, okay, sure. But I'm sure some other cow over there was not mad that you got rid of that bull. You know what I mean? Like.
I mean, and the Bible also says you can eat meat. So I mean, I don't know. They're cherry picking 5 words from the Bible to try and make a point. And I'm pretty sure that verse was not about animals. Hands that shed innocent blood. Sounds like a verse about murder or something. You know what I mean?
Wild because we were vegans for 3 years. So it's literally like, if they're like, we're definitely not the people to send this letter to. Because I mean, if there was ever a time to convince us of this, it was not going to be right.
You can't trick me to make me think it's healthy or any of that. You know, we felt like crap when we were vegan.
Right. It's a good detox for a short period of time.
Yeah, you feel great at first. And so as soon as you go vegan, you're like, oh, this is the best I ever felt. Because you're like, basically you're cutting out a bunch of junk food and things like that. And then, you know, give it a year or 2, you start feeling like crap. And then you're like, oh, dang, I must have, you know, slipped on my diet. Maybe I should change this. Maybe I should go raw vegan. Maybe fruitarian so I can feel how I felt when I first started. And you never get back to there. You just end up super tired, old, and decrepit looking. But, okay, back with this Bible analogy he's making.
Like this.
If to excuse your actions, you replied, the Bible says to eat animals. The Bible also says it's an abomination to talk to a menstruating woman. So there's tons of contradictions and inconsistencies with the Bible.
Bruh.
Why would you use the Bible to justify your position and then tear down the Bible? We didn't bring the Bible up. You did.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why would you do that?
I don't understand.
Oh my goodness.
This is a cult though. It's like when a person's deep in a cult, you can't really,
This is insane to me. I don't get how you're gonna make a point and then rebut your own point.
Right, using the same book.
The Bible says this. By the way, the Bible's not valid. What are you doing? The bottom line is this. If you're not vegan, you're an animal abuser.
Oh.
If you are against being vegan, you are defending animal abuse and murder. The animal industry is evil. If you support it, what does that make you? It makes me full. That's what it makes me. When we were vegan, I was never full. Never.
We were so cranky. Like, my mom will tell you guys. She still to this day, every time she sees us, you guys used to be so cranky as vegans.
So mean.
So mean. You guys were so mean.
So yeah, this is just typical woke logic. They try and create a binary reality, which is funny because they're supposed to be like non-binary and whatnot. But they try and create a binary reality and force you to get on their side by saying our side's good, your side's bad. It's the same thing. Like either you're anti-fascist or you're fascist. Either you're anti-racist or you're racist. And so for this person is, if you're not vegan, you're an animal abuser. So you're vegan or an animal abuser.
Right.
Like, whatever.
Like you support animal murder and all this stuff. But the weird thing is, this is such a Western, like, first world letter. Like, when you think about it, and because it's like, okay, the fact that this person even wrote this, like, I guarantee you almost half, maybe more of their stuff in their house was made in China. China has real modern day slaves right now.
Right.
And they abuse the heck out of animals. They steal people's dogs to turn them into meat to sell on the meat market. So you're literally supporting a country that is like pro-animal abuse. I mean, not
pro-human abuse.
Yeah.
But I mean, this person thinks animals are more important than humans.
True.
So they probably don't care about the human.
They'd rather you starve as long as the animals survive. So right. But it's like, you're literally like, it's like they're like, use your dollar, send us this bloody dollar and whatever. And it's like, they're not even considering the fact that like, this is the most first world problem I've ever heard of.
Right.
Like, what? Like, since when does the most dominant species in nature just, like, submit for the rights of other animals to survive? Like, those animals would kill you and take over if they could.
Right.
By the way, these highlights on this letter, we didn't do those. Like, all these yellow highlights are from them. All the red writing is from them. Like, they wanted us to really pay attention to different words and shock phrases.
Yeah, we're skimming this letter. If you want to read the whole letter, we will post it on Instagram. Okay, so it goes on. In the next couple paragraphs, he called us, or I guess...
They,
what? No, I'm saying, is it us or one person? I don't know who this is really to, but it says you're a person of color. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then people of color, like, steady with the people of color. You're a person of color, person of color, person of color.
I actually forgot mid-reading this letter. I totally forgot.
I mean, the exact phrase. You're a person of color. Oh, my goodness. What does it have to do with your vegan argument?
Well, people of color demand freedom, equality, and justice, but you deny those very rights to every last right to cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, lambs, fish, and so forth.
That has to be a typo. People of color demand. Maybe it means like demanded. You know what I mean?
Demand
like
freedom.
Demand right now.
I mean, look at Black Lives Matter. People of color definitely demand freedom.
It's not people of color. It's Black Lives Matter. And Black Lives Matter people are of color and not of color.
More like
I hate the phrase people of color.
Demand
you know what I mean?
Free stuff.
Black Lives Matter is a diverse group of individuals. Let's put it that way.
For sure.
I know some people who don't look like me support Black Lives Matter, okay? It ain't just people of color with the Black Lives Matter group. It's woke people.
It's woke people.
So we say woke people demand freedom, equality, and justice, even though they already have it. But we deny those rights to animals. Shut up.
We
I
deny.
can't even.
We deny equality with chickens. Okay, let me just tell a chicken, you have the Second Amendment.
I also see those who are gay, lesbian, and bi, as well as people born in the wrong body, demanding freedom, equality, and justice, but these people deny these very rights and every last right to cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys, and lambs, fish, and so forth.
So this person is saying something that's so, how's that relevant to us?
They're
saying,
know.
By the way, I also see LGBTQ people who deny these rights to animals too.
I think they're saying if you're woke, you should be on our side.
Pretty much. Ooh.
Like if you're black, you should be woke because you're oppressed and you want freedom, so you should be on our side because animals are oppressed. If you're part of the LGBTQ, then you're oppressed and you demand freedom, so you should be on our side because animals are oppressed and demand freedom. I think it's really like that's the basis of their premise, and then they're just like going deeper and like, oh, because slavery this, slavery that. You know what I mean?
This is such a weird. It's like, how spoiled rotten do you have to be to think this is relevant? Like, to spend this time to write this letter, mail it to us. They mailed it without an address, like without a return address. No name. Like, in the future, we're going to probably be even more careful with letter. Like, that was our first time getting a letter that's, like, unaddressed. But, I mean, that should have been a sign. But, yeah. It's like, how weird do you have to be to think this is actually, like, the biggest problem facing humanity? Good luck going to Kruger National Park and telling the animals that they're equals to you and seeing how much they care.
Right. I mean, this person does not live in reality.
They don't.
They live in a state of delusion, which is common for woke people. It's just different issues you can be deluded about.
Because it's like it's like, I understand the sentiment of you feel for animals, but it's like, do you not realize how much privilege you have to feel for animals? Like, literally, if you go to many of these poor countries, they eat dogs because they're desperate for meat, because meat is too expensive and not widely available, and it's nourishing.
Right.
You know? So it's like, to even have a concept of like, we have an abundance of animals that they should have rights. You know what I mean? I don't support like abusing animals, but at the same time, understanding in nature, sometimes you have to like pick your poison. It's not just going to be some perfect fantasy like happy world.
I mean, I don't think it's okay. There are companies that do abuse animals. Like that does happen. That does need to change. I mean, overall, just eating animals, that's probably the best way for them to die. Have you ever seen an animal get attacked by a lion or a wolf?
Yeah, true. Oh, they get their guts bit out of them and then they just like.
I've seen hyenas disembowel some animal, you know, in Africa while it was alive. They were just like holding it down and biting it right like near the bowels and just guts spilled out. The animal's still alive.
Right.
Like, that's not happening with our agriculture. You know what I mean? It's pretty quick deaths. And yeah, some places probably have bad living conditions. Some people have bad living conditions, such as life.
Right.
Yes, it sucks.
Like,
hopefully it gets better.
You know what I think is a bigger deal in that letter right there and the issues they address?
Just about everything?
Just about everything. But no, like CPS. Like how abused children don't have a voice and like it takes so much to actually go in a home and like investigate it. And then they get placed in a foster care system that abuses them again. You know what I mean?
If they even get placed there, they might stay with the abusive parents if they don't have enough evidence.
Yeah, and it's like teachers to report those parents have to go through so much and then they end up not even, they do a little investigation, that's it. And there's so many cases where you hear about children, like, how did this happen? How did this kid get killed? Da da da. And it's like, well, they had many warnings. I think that's a way bigger sort of issue that needs to be addressed before.
Trafficking is a bigger issue.
Yeah, trafficking. Yeah, before animal. I mean, because it's like, yes, animals are abused and whatever, and that's sad, but it's like, in nature, like, nature is savage. Like, there's a lot of things that are sad and disgusting that need to be fixed.
Yep. All right, so let us know what you guys think down below. Is eating vegan the same as, like, abolishing slavery? Should those people be held in the same moral regard?
Are chickens slaves? Are chickens the modern-day slaves?
Are enslaved Africans from the past the equivalent to
a fish
farm animals right now?
Farm salmon.
Let us know what you think down below.
I don't know. Tell me, man, what do you know? What do you know? Me and my boys on the road. We to go. She told me, boy, you to go. Like, I don't know. But I don't know.